Hey girls, guys, and all people like it is Mox here, and hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at more FNAF news. First off, we have a post not from the FNAF Movie Updates Twitter page, because I saw this news not from them first. They have now posted it, I think. Anyway, so this post comes from Johnny Blocks, who I think also does FNAF video stuff. There's probably a bunch of people that are now super angry because I don't know who that is. I'm so sorry. I watched a lot of the same stuff all the time, and I don't really expand my view of YouTubers and content creators, and I really should, just so I'm a little bit more up to date with everybody. Anyway, this is like crazy news to me. Actor Garrett Hines has been cast as Mike's dad in Blumhouse's upcoming Five Nights at Freddy's film, as per IMDb Pro. So, Mike's dad, I feel like this has been talked about enough that this isn't a fake post, because I did talk about, I think in the last video, that there are fake posts that can be made on IMDb, but I think this has been talked about by enough people and from enough legit sources that he actually is, which is kind of crazy to me. Why does Mike have a dad that isn't William Afton? A lot of people were speculating. I'll just scroll down. Even in the comments there's some speculation. So a lot of people are saying this must be an AU where Mike and William aren't related. It could also be a situation where Michael got separated from William after, you know, he murdered children, and this is his adopted or stepdad. I like this the most, the second part of that at least, because it kind of just makes sense, I guess. Like maybe he would get adopted or have a stepdad or something, and I feel like we knew from kind of the beginning that this was going to be its own thing. The movie's going to be separate from the games, which is what I wanted at least, because the games are insanely complicated. I'm not sure how I feel about this. Personally, I think it's like it's not that bad if they take the story in a really good way that I just am not foreseeing. Personally, I would prefer if Mike is Michael Afton and he has to, you know, atone for the sins of his father type of deal. I don't know. I like that storyline a little bit more, but maybe they're just doing something different. Who knows? We don't know. We don't know yet, but I'm excited to see what does happen. But yeah, there's a lot of people that were saying that they like predicted it. There's a lot of confusion as well. A lot of funny posts going around, but that's the one big thing, which is kind of newer, but a thing that's a little bit older, maybe from I think about last week, which I haven't talked about yet because I've been kind of slacking on the YouTube game, my bad, is there's been a huge synopsis that's been like leaked, I guess, for the FNAF movie. I don't even know, like leaked, or it was just found. I don't really know what the right term for this would be, but let's jump right into it. YouTuber at 3, this is also from Johnny Blocks. I'll have them linked down in the description below, along with the FNAF movie updates page, just because I really appreciate that page and they've done a lot for my videos. But anyway, YouTuber at 3C Films revealed the new plot description in a recent video linked below and confirmed with several sources the new details are legit, and that's crazy to me. Let's jump right into this. I was like, oh my god, this is a lot. Jeez. I was very unsure if I really wanted to get into it because like this is the story basically, or like at least the general story, and I'll explain that a little bit more in just a second after we read this. So okay, from producer Jason Blum and based on the acclaimed video game series of the same name, in this supernatural horror film, Mike Schmidt is a troubled security guard who starts a seemingly easy overnight gig at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, the local family entertainment center. The struggle to take care of his 10-year-old sister Abby on his own, the generally undependable Mike is low on options when he lands this new job to pay the bills and brings her along to the gig. Mike quickly realizes, however, that the night shift at Freddy's won't be as kickback as he was thinking after he makes a disturbing discovery that the pizza place's 4 horrifying animatronic mascots all apparently come alive, moving about on their own as they hunt down and attempt to kill anyone that is still at Freddy's after midnight. Now, Mike and Abby must do everything they can to keep themselves alive through the night, but after the local police officer Vanessa Monroe arrives and quickly finds herself thrust into the middle of this terrifying situation, she's able to shed light on the dark history and inner workings of Fazbear Entertainment. Someone cutting a tree down outside? What is that? Jesus. Shed light on the dark history and inner workings of Fazbear Entertainment and its nefarious co-founder, William Afton, a man who it turns out is a child murderer, with their ghosts now haunting the animatronic creatures. And now Mike, Abby, and Vanessa must find a way to all work together if they're to have any chance at surviving this increasingly terrifying situation. I think they messed that up. That's just like a copy paste. With animatronic characters by Jim Henson's Creature Shop, that's pretty much the only thing that pops up after that. There's a lot to kind of unpack here, and a lot less to unpack here if you think about it, considering the whole FNAF lore as a whole. Am I like in frame? I feel like I'm so like up close to you guys. It's because my chair is kind of broken. I feel like my chair's a little broken, so it's whatever. Lots to unpack here again. Like I said, Mike is taking care of his sister Abby. This is making me think that he's, I don't know, it's making me even more so think that he's not related to Afton, or maybe Abby is going to be like his stepsister, his adoptive sister, whatever it is, something like that. But he's the one taking care of her, which is interesting considering they just cast Mike's dad. So maybe Mike's dad's stepdad, whatever he's going to be, is a bit of like a deadbeat or something, or he's just not involved. I have no clue, but it's just very interesting. And if you guys have any theories, please let me know down in the comments below. I would love to see them. I genuinely can't even think of a concrete story for this, and I feel like I need to make another timeline video. Not sure if I want to do that, but let me know in the comments again if you'd like that. But anyway, this feels very, very early FNAF vibes, where it's not so complicated and insane with the story. It's just this person is low on, like, they don't have any other option or whatever. I don't know, like whatever the early theories were. This person needs money. They're desperate. They're here for some desperate reason that they need to be here. And I kind of like that. I like it a little bit less than Mike following his father's trail and whatnot, but it works with the early story of FNAF. It would be absolutely hilarious though if it just follows the games exactly. Like, this is what we think, and then in the later games, I said this in a previous video, but in the later movies, they just add some insane like backstory and be like, actually no, that's not his dad, it's a fake dude or something like that. It would be hilarious. I would love that. Maybe his dad's an animatronic, like we see the very hyper realistic animatronics in the books and everything. That would be hilarious. I would love that so much, actually. But okay, he discovers that the animatronics are roaming around and everything, so it sounds more like Mike doesn't know about Freddy's yet or something. Like, I don't know. Again, this is just a general synopsis. This is not all the details of the movie, but it kind of sounds like this is Mike's first interaction with Fazbear Entertainment, which is like gonna basically confirm that he has no idea who William Afton is, especially with the later stuff where they're talking about Vanessa. And I just think that's super weird. It could still work, but it feels weird. It can still work though. I'm not totally put off by it yet, but I'm a little bit less hyped. Like a minuscule amount. But anyway, the next portion is where things get very strange. Mike and Abby must do everything they can to keep themselves alive. Mike and Abby, that means, like, I do remember seeing earlier people were saying that Abby's going to play a much larger role than we would have expected. I would have expected Abby to be a super side character where, like, we know she's there, and it's like, yeah, Mike needs to support his sister, but we don't necessarily need to see his sister, except for scenes where, like, she's like where their house is looking a little down and out and everything. Basically just scenes to reinforce that he needs to keep doing what he's doing. But no, it sounds like Abby's gonna be there for a whole lot of the movie, which is like, I'm kind of fine with that. I like a good brother-sister dynamic in stories and whatnot. So yeah, sure, it might be just fine. It feels a little less true to the games, but I'm interested to see how it goes. Another equally bamboozling thing is Vanessa also being there. She's thrust into the middle of the terrifying situation, and this kind of sounds like what I was expecting and what I predicted from my timeline video, where Vanessa's gonna be like someone who knows about the history, and maybe it was a case that she was working, or someone she knows was working the case, or it was just a big well-known case and she has more details into it because she's a police officer, so she would something like that, and that makes a lot of sense, and I am all for that. The thing that kind of confuses me is that Mike, Abby, and Vanessa must find a way to all work together. I feel like that could be taken one of two ways. One, she's also with Mike and Abby in the establishment or something, trying to survive all three of them, and I feel like that's not super chill. I don't really like that, just because I feel like the more people you add into the situation, the less scary it is. I feel like a big portion of FNAF horror is like how claustrophobic and alone you kind of feel, I guess. Like, you're just there by yourself in your office, and that's like a big portion of the horror for me, at least, and I feel like a lot of other people. And I feel like, yeah, like I said, the more people you add, the less scary it gets, because then you have like support, and it makes the viewer feel a little more supported and grounded and everything. So that's way number one. Way number two that I think this could be taken is that she's just kind of in the background and she helps to feed information, and she's there like maybe during the daytime scenes or like the scenes when they're not directly trying to survive in the pizzeria. And also, just to comment again on Abby being there, I feel like another way that could be taken is like maybe Abby shows up in the later nights or something, and that like ramps up the need to survive factor, whereas Mike could just be like, this is spooky and I need to keep myself alive for my sister, but it's a different kind of fear when you're like, I must directly protect this person who is with me right now type of deal. Yeah, I'm not super sure. I do still want to do my big FNAF movie stream thing, but with so much news coming out, I'm happy that I waited to do so, because it would have just been like totally overruled by all the news that we found out over the past few months. It's been crazy. It's been a lot. But yeah, just to say again, big love to Johnny Blocks and at 3C Films for the synopsis. I might be missing some things just because I have not actually watched Chris Parker. I have not watched Chris Parker's video, but if you want to give that a watch, I'll leave both of their Twitter links down in the description below. And the last thing that I wanted to touch upon was a post from the FNAF Movie Updates Twitter page, which was talking about the synopsis. Because I like super agree with what they have to say, and I think it's something that everyone should keep in mind when reading this. And let's jump into that. And let's jump right into that. There's been some confusion about the synopsis post. The point is to reveal the basic plot of the movie. That's something that I talked about briefly, and I want to really hit home with that. It's the basic plot of the movie. It doesn't include Easter eggs. It doesn't include side story. It doesn't include any in-depth details. Like they say even here, we don't know if there's going to be multiple nights, and I would assume there's going to be more than one if they're going to call the movie Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, that's not mentioned at all in the synopsis. So we need to take the synopsis with a grain of salt, just because we don't know all that stuff yet. And yeah, they're also talking about here, there are still so many characters that haven't been talked about that are in this movie in the synopsis. Characters like, I think Hank was one of them that someone brought up at some point. I don't know if they brought it up here in this post. I don't think they did. But yeah, like characters like Hank and just other, I don't know. That's the only character I can think of off the top of my head. But there's other characters that are in here. Like Mike's mom is also in here. She's not talked about. Mike's dad, who's just been revealed, is not talked about. There's a lot of people that's missing here. So take this with a grain of salt. Don't be too mega salty yet. Let's wait and see what we get from like trailers and other things moving forward. That's pretty much it for the big news, the big new news. There is one more very small thing I wanted to cover. I got in a comment talking about, I made a community poll, which you can still go vote on in, I think I can link it in the description. If not, it's on the community tab of my channel, asking if you guys think we're going to end up seeing the Bite of 87 or the Bite of 83 in the FNAF movie. The majority vote was the Bite of 83, which makes a lot of sense. But I wanted to talk about these comments I got here, where someone was saying there's no hinting at the toy animatronics being there except for Balloon Boy. But I quickly wanted to bring up the second comment, which mentioned that that Balloon Boy wasn't originally intended to be in FNAF 1, and that makes a lot of sense for why he would be cast in this movie. So I do think that there is going to be some story changes from the games. I've said this many times. It cannot follow the games. That would be insane, and we'd need a million movies to explain the whole storyline and everything. But I do also think that Balloon Boy could just be there in like a bit of a flashback or a bit of a showing for like the FNAF 2 location or something like that. Anyway, very, very small thing. Just wanted to bring it up. But yeah, that's gonna be just about it. What do you guys think of the synopsis, of Mike's dad being cast, all that stuff? I think it's just kind of crazy, and I'm really interested to see what happens, but I'm also like a little on the fence about everything that's happening. But let me know, again, like I said, down in the comments, if you have any ideas or any theories, anything like that, any predictions of what could be happening. I am super interested to hear them. But yeah, that's going to be just about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Stay tuned for more. I got more FNAF stuff coming, some FNAF gameplay actually, which I'm pretty excited about. But yeah, that's going to be just about it. Thank you all so much. See you all in the next one, and goodbye.